collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at this brand new Droid Factory 4-pack from the Ahsoka series. This arrived today from Shop Disney in the UK. If you want to order one, the link is in the description below. And a big shout out actually to Shop Disney, because once again this arrived in perfect condition. It was double boxed, so it came in a box like this and then within another box, and it is all packaged very nicely, so it arrived undamaged, so that's always a good thing. As you can see there, we've got 4 droids, of course, because it's a 4-pack, and they are C110P, C4, R4C, Professor Huyang, and RD3. I will be comparing the chopper versus the Vintage Collection chopper. The other 2 astromechs, of course, are the Builder Droid mold, if you like, and this is the first time that we've got Professor Huyang in 3.75 inch. Unfortunately, I can't compare him against the Vintage Collection one just yet because we don't have that figure, but ultimately the Professor Huyang won't be of the standard of the Vintage Collection. The Vintage Collection one would be more articulated. However, this one isn't a simple 5POA. He does have other hinges and joints and things like that, and we're going to take a look at them right now. All right, very quickly, here is the packaging. It's the Star Wars Droid Factory packaging. You can see all the names there of the droids with the Ahsoka logo, and then on the back it gives you another image of the droids that are included, and it says all different types of droids populate the Star Wars galaxy. Each droid is different and has their own unique personality and colors. These 4 are featured in Star Wars Ahsoka. May the Force be with you and your droids, and then it's repeated in some other languages. Before we do open this, if you do happen to enjoy the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe if you're new, and let's open it up and check them out. Okay then, so first of all we're going to be taking a look at C110P or Chopper, and the one on the left hand side is the new Droid Factory version from the 4-pack, and the one on the right hand side is the Vintage Collection version. And the first thing you'll probably notice is that they are of a slightly different scale to one another. I'm not 100% sure which one is the right scale in terms of being next to a 3.75 inch figure. You'll have to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about that. But there are some differences on the figures. Of course, you can see the paint apps are completely different. And also the Vintage Collection one has that very cool articulation on the head where you can make it sort of crunch and things like that. The one on the left, you cannot do that. It literally just spins. However, the one on the left does have other things going for it that the Vintage Collection one doesn't, namely the articulation on his little arms coming out of the side of his head. They are articulated at the wrist and the elbow, so you've got like a snaky type movement here. If I do this, look. So you've got the articulation at the elbow and at the wrist, and they also spin as well, very much like the Vintage Collection one does, but they literally just spin, and that is it. Apart from that, there isn't too much difference between the droids. The legs move in the same way. They've got the articulation at the ankle. They've both got a little wheel on the bottom there. I do believe that the wheel on the Vintage Collection one spins as well as rolls forward, whereas that one is just set forward, but of course does roll as well. So there's the differences between the two. Let's just take the Vintage Collection one out of the way for the time being, because we are going to be looking at this one a little bit more closely. So if I just spin his head there, you can see that, and there's the articulation on those little arms. You've got the articulation on the leg and on the foot, and then the wheel does kind of spin but doesn't twist. Let's take a look at the back of the droid. Not too much going on the back of him there, but plenty of sort of paint apps on the front and weathering and stuff like that, and the little center hand or arm does come out just like it does on the Vintage Collection one. So what I would say is that the Droid Factory's sort of details are a little bit softer than the Vintage Collection one, which I would expect anyway, but this droid is really good. It's got lots of things going for it, and yeah, it's another good chopper to have in the collection. Disney have released chopper on a single card before in the Droid Factory, so anyone that has that particular version will have to let me know if this one's any different. Let me know in the comment section below, but that is chopper. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at C4R4C. Now, I do believe that the appearance of this droid was in the part of the series where they go to the shipyards of Corellia, and he's on one of those like people transport. He's driving it basically when You know, a couple of the other characters are on one of those people sort of carrier things. So let's just take a quick look at this. As I mentioned before, you know, these are basically builder droids. So you can take the legs off. If I can just pull that out. There you go. And this is one of those sort of cone head style droids. The head turns and the head will come off as well. And you can see under there, builder droid. Center leg also comes out as well. So all the articulation that you get on this is the spinny head. The leg moves there, the foot, and of course you can take the center foot out. But he's a cool looking droid, and you know, I'm never going to pass up on more astromech droids in the collection. I think they're pretty cool. It's always good to have astromechs rolling around. And I do like the back detailing there. You've got some weathering going on that black paint. So yeah, pretty cool. So that one is C4R4C. Next up is RD3. Now you'll have to excuse me, I'm not 100% sure where this astromech is within the series. I have a feeling he may be sort of rolling around the Rebel base where the Ghost is parked, but you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on that. And he's a cool looking one. I do like the eye on this guy. Very, very simple paint apps. He's white, yellow and grey basically. And this is the first time that we've seen the cables on the feet for quite some time on a builder droid figure. But once again, he's pretty cool. And as always, you know, spinny head, spinny legs. You know, you got the joint at the foot. And of course, the center foot removes as well, just like the other droid. You know, these are just basically builder droids, but they are pretty cool. As I said before, I'm never going to pass up on having more astromechs in the collection. I say pretty simple paint scheme on this guy, but once again, always good to have these. RD3. Pretty awesome. Alright then, so the fourth figure in the pack is Professor Huyang. And this is the only figure in the pack that isn't like an astromech style droid. And I've got to say, you know, he's pretty good. I would say at this moment in time, he is definitely a placeholder until the Vintage Collection version comes out. This is nowhere near the quality that the Vintage Collection one will be. I am sure of that. He has pretty good articulation. You know, he's not 5p away by any means, but he's certainly not super articulated. And I'll go over all of that in a second. But I thought I'd just give you a good look at the figure just standing there. He's got some nice features and some nice paint apps and things like that. But as I say, nowhere near Vintage Collection quality, if that's what you're thinking. So let's just take a closer look at the figure here. And you can see he's kind of like that sort of metallic tan colour. And he has like a soft vinyl plastic apron, which has got sort of like a two-tone colour to it. It's got like a sort of like a dark green and a brown to it. And then he has some pouches on the back. And again, they are sort of like a soft plastic. You know, this is very much like the plastic that the Vintage Collection and Hasbro would use on their figures to, you know, aid the articulation and not to get in the way of the figure and things like that. So they have gone that far in terms of, you know, creating the figure. Now the head is on a ball, but it's at the neck in there, so you don't really get too much motion. Very little, in fact. He does have a torso crunch, which I was actually surprised about. He has swivel hips. He does have a hinge at the knee, which also swivel as well. And he does have a hinge at the ankle. He does have hinges at the elbows, and his wrists spin. But what I would say about this figure is that I almost broke it. Because if you'll see on the side of the figure here, these paint apps here actually make it look like he's got a hinge at the top of the shoulder there. And he does not. I was trying to lift that up there and you're going to end up breaking it. But it does swivel round. And as I say, he does have the elbows. But that is not a hinge. I've tried my best to move it and you'll end up just breaking it. So please do not try that. On the back of the figure, he does have his little backpack there, but the arms do not extend or anything like that, and you can't remove the backpack either. It's just part of the figure. But I do like his sort of midriff there, where you've got the blue and some red paint and everything, just to give it a bit of detail. And the head's not too bad either. So, as I say, you know, this is a good placeholder for Professor Huyang in our collections. You know, if you're just buying this to maybe get the other astromech droids, and this one's just a bit of a bonus, he is definitely a placeholder until the Vintage Collection version 1 comes out, which will have an interchangeable backpack and loads more articulation. I expect that to have, you know, ball jointed hips and, you know, shoulders and things like that, which this one just does not have. But until then, this one will do. It's pretty good. Alright then guys, so that is my review of the brand new Droid Factory 4-pack from the Ahsoka series that contains C-110P Chopper, C-4R4C, Professor Huyang and RD3. 4 pretty cool droids. Very happy with the astromech ones to add to the collection. And as I said, Huyang will just be a placeholder until the Vintage Collection 1 comes out. Really looking forward to that figure. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of these figures. Are you going to be picking them up? As I said, if you're in the UK, there is a link in the description below, and if you use that link, that helps out the channel. So thank you very much if you do use that link. I want to thank you all for watching, and thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members as always, and we shall see you on the next one.